homeless people, da 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 da. And I get this a lot from people like I don't like I feel lonely because I don't have, somebody of like mind to talk to. It's always all my life I've always been like a counselor for people. And somebody said, "Oh, well, you're just so easy to talk to." And it's like, "No, really, that's, going back to what I said before. When I first meet people, I just met this guy. This is my third day of training was yesterday. I'm done with training now. Now they're just putting me out there because they don't have enough people for that site. And they were trying to make me commit to working, the swing shift, for the rest of my time. And it's like, I can't commit that because my situation is not stable. I went for the job. I'm just trusting that Mama, the ancestors, the universe are going to guide me, and I'm just listening to my intuition and, things of that nature. And today he says, or yesterday he goes, "Well, the only reason why I remember your name is and he's very blunt, almost in a childlike way, but he's kind of snarky, but he doesn't know how snarky he can be with me. And it's kind of like, and hey, I'm family too. But it's, it's kind of like those gay boys that are, oh, nah, just kind of like that. And so I was like, okay. But he says, "Well, this lady's really pretty." Okay. I don't know. I don't care. I don't want to really know anything. I want to be able to go to work and, good girl, baby. I'm going to take this to work with me and fill it up with water. It's supposed to be 106 cents. So anyway, I just want to be able to go to work without any drama. I have not seen Tamra, aka Tammy. And from what I heard, she hasn't been there for quite a while. Now, I know that the fair is supposed to be going on. Well, the fair was supposed to be going on last month, and another fair is supposed to be going on this month, but she can't do it. So that's right, I just remembered that. But for some reason, I haven't seen her. So I'm very grateful. Very grateful that I did not room with them, because my intuition in meditation, what I got, and it's really hard because like I said, sometimes I don't know a blessing from a curse. I just feel like I'm always being challenged and deceived. But I've learned to listen to that real big gnawing. And from what I got was that if I were to room with them, she's not making enough money. I got 40 hours a week, So, I'm so grateful for that. It's like God just maneuvered. But, so I get 40 hours a week. My part of the rent would be paid with one paycheck, plus other stuff that I get in. And every once in a while, I'll smell a perfume, and I know it could be my ancestor or something, but it's just weird. Every once in a while, I'll smell a perfume, and it just throws me off. So anyway, sorry about that. But yeah. They would have bullied me, and I've been in those situations. That's why I didn't take the mobile home. I need something by myself because because of my personality, because it takes me a long time to get to know people, and because people are very lonely here. I keep running into people who are lonely but don't want to admit that they're lonely, and don't want to what is that called? Don't want to treat me as an equal, or respect me as for who I am. That it ends up turning into a bullying situation. It's just too many times it's turned into a bullying situation, especially when you got two or more. Now Olga was about 4 or 5 people, being 300 plus pounds and whatever. That's why I thought it was really comical that she said that we looked alike and we're the same height and body weight and all this. We're not. We're just not, dude. Um, so so I'm glad I didn't take that mobile home, because I had a feeling, and that's what I was being told with Tamara, that if I would have roomed with them, because the only reason why they weren't doing as many drugs as they had been doing before was because they had to find a place. They wanted to pay for a room to rest and do their drugs, eat, be able to cook. They lived out of their truck, which it's not good to live, a van you can stretch out in. A truck, I mean, and their truck was a piece of shit. Sorry. So anyway, with my coworker, it just, I'm leery, or I'm cautious, because he's already shown signs. I mean, he saved cans for me. I told him I was homeless, that I'm living out of the office building. He dropped me off to see it, but then he left right quick. So, I just have to be careful, to set boundaries real quick. Like, I was telling him about Hazel, and Hazel is a licker. She won't stop licking. And in order, I guess, for her, I don't know really what it is. I know she has pica, which means that she'll chew the crotch out of my boxers. And she just, I can't just regularly hold her without her literally licking my face, cleaning my nose, trying to brush my teeth, all that stuff without her, before she'll just relax in my arms or sit in my lap. And I don't sit still, I'm always constantly going. The only time that they can, sleep with me is when it's time literally to go to sleep or rest on me. So anyway, I was telling him, started telling him about, Hazel, because I guess I had a booger in my nose, and he was just like, oh yeah, you really need to get that and stuff like that. So it's sometimes he seems helpful, like I said, with the cans and taking me home and stuff like that. But, and that was just today. And, he's like, oh, I save cans and I help the homeless and, once I can, and I feel for people. So, there's still a lot to get to know about this guy, but so far, and I think it's because, I don't say much when I first meet you. I'm just listening, because I'm listening for key phrases. I'm listening for triggers. I'm, listening, and that's it. But people take my just being quiet and listening as being receptive and, giving them a couch, basically. And it's not. I'm not giving you a couch. You're in my situation. I got to talk to you. I'm not going to be rude. But he was, so anyway, it just, he was trying to check me and stuff like this, and getting really kind of, like I said, just snarky, just, kind of like a dorky boy, stuff. So, but whatever. I'm tired. I yesterday, I showed you guys the video of, right after work, probably about an hour later, because I just remembered, not an hour later, because I got back here to the office probably around 3:30 or whatever, and then I sat down and rested because it was hot. I've been walking all day. I rode my bike, to and from, to work, and left my bike there, so that way I can ride it back. And I'm scared because I'm going to be riding the bike back at 11 o'clock at night. Yeah. And this one, and see, I don't like, I didn't like that this company put me, I'm 3 days training. First they tell me that I'm just going to be working weekends, and I remember thinking, gosh, I hope I get more hours, right? What you looking at, baby? That I hope I get more hours. Okay, so I do end up getting more hours, and there's a lot of creeks in here that always makes me nervous. Okay, well, I put some fiberglass up on up on this little cranny on the wall when Nicole had come in here and taken the, well, I can't show you, but she had taken the ceiling panels out and the fiberglass dropped down, and so that's what's creaking and cracking. But anyway, 3 hours, and then woke up because I went to sleep probably around 9:30, and well, maybe a little bit more than 3 hours, but went to sleep at 9:30, woke up at 1:30, and it's now 2, over past 2:33. So gratefully I don't have to go to work until 3 p.m., which means I'm taking public transportation, so I gotta leave by at least 1:30 because I want to get there early, because now that I got this tablet, and they got free Wi-Fi, I want to go in the cafeteria and, charge everything up. I'm so grateful for that I get to charge everything up, because I don't have a place any longer to, I probably could find one, but, I'm just tired of reaching out to people who are toxic and, potential to get my stuff stolen and things of that nature. And like I said, I'm just keeping a low profile. I don't want people to know that I have a job, but they really don't care, Yeah. So anyway, I'm starting to ramble because, the bumps in the night scare me. And we got that window open, but, it's been like this for 2 days. This is going on the 3rd day, and nobody said anything. I have to climb out the window and then put the boards back up, because I got one that's up against on the inside, and then I put the one that was on the outside back up, So, but I'm just blessed. When I think about my situation, I always talk about what's going on, that's not good or has me upset or whatever. But the fact of the matter is that I do have a job. Nothing is perfect, and I would like. I would actually like to have just, a place to stay by ourselves without having to worry about, anybody. Have peace, know that I can, open the door and lock the door behind me. And I don't know, even when I do get my own place again, if I'll be able to shake that. Who's that? What's that? What's that sound? Who's coming in? Do we have to worry about anything? I don't know. And that's what scares me, because that's when I'm going to need the most help. That's when I'm going to need. I'm going to need support. And I have not found support here, And I'm not the only one. Other people don't find support. That's why they do drugs. And I tell you, I've had through several battles with me, myself, and I on, no, don't take a drink because you're going to fuck yourself up. I'm already stressed out, and then I'm drinking, and it's not going to be good. It's bad enough that I'm smoking, and so, the job, I do smoke every, 2 or 3 hours. And so it's helped me, plus biking to work has helped, But I was listening to something, and the person was saying, talking about manifestation and all this crap. It's not crap, but, it's like, now tell the universe exactly what you want. I want a home. I want a home that's safe for me and my kids. And then after we get stable in a place of our own, out of all this drama, out of this vulnerable situation that we're in, that, I want justice. There's a lot of things that happen that were not just. Not just to me, to other people too, but, I have a job, I have food, I have money, and I'm very blessed, because, after sometimes I don't, I know that I made good choices recently with, my living arrangements, or the potential living arrangements, because money started coming in, or ways to make money, and so is Hazel. And, so I'm happy about that, I'm happy that I get to have money. It's not a lot of money. And still I was hoping I'd get paid this Thursday. I still may, I don't know. But, I just gotta wait. I still got money in the bank, but you know, it's a lot of work for what you're doing. So, but anyway, I'm just grateful. That's it. I'm just grateful, and I just have a knack for, yes, I am grateful, and thank you so much for watching over me and the kids, especially because when I'm gone at work, it's like I'm taking a risk, but when I look at it without fear, and just focus on how I've been guided to, how things have just moved aside suddenly. This is my third security job, and I was thinking, I said, well, something's going to happen. Maybe they're going to close down and whatever. And something happened, but it's for my benefit, And so I'm having faith that Mama God will, move something to where we can have a more stable place, and I can feel safe and secure and get some rest, and not be stung by hornets or whatever the hell those yellow and black things are. But then again, we have this. I got the key. They knew that I was going to come in here and wash up at least, and I already told them when the other guy, when he came in, he's a little bit more aggressive one, I guess you could say. He saw us in here. And which is good, because now I don't have to hide, everything. So I guess I'm just stressing out too much, but I don't like those windows. I wish I had my own Makita to screw in the boards and to take out the boards when I need them.